I'm Helen and this is Why Mums Don't Jump, busting taboos about leaks and lumps after childbirth, all the stuff that happens to your pelvic floor that no one ever talks about. Incontinence, prolapse, pelvic pain, problems that affect millions of women, 1 in 3. I'm one of them. I have a prolapse. My pelvic organs fell out of place after the birth of my second child 5 years ago. And if you told me then I'd be speaking about this stuff out loud, I would have told you to give your head a wobble. I've wanted to make this podcast for a really long time, partly because when it happened to me, I felt there was a real lack of good information out there and definitely a real lack of support. I just felt like I was the only person in the world in this position. And now, of course, I know that I'm really, really not. So this is about trying to change things a bit, take away the shame, end the stigma, find recovery or find acceptance. Over the next few episodes, I'll be speaking to some of the amazing professionals who live and breathe pelvic floors and to other women with broken bits, because hearing their experiences is one of the things that has really helped me to come to terms with mine. So with that in mind, I really wanted to share my story. I don't find it easy to talk about. It's not easy to talk about, is it? So I have enlisted some help.
Hello.
This is Kath. She's my best friend of nearly 30 years.
You look, very special.
I'm not usually quite this rude to her, but she is wearing her husband's grey joggers while sweeping out a newly plastered kitchen.
We'll go for the red. Do you like red?
I met Kath at school, and you know that friend that you can ring in the middle of the night when your boyfriend's dumped you, or they'll tell you straight up if your bum looks big in this? Well, that's Kath. And she's the perfect person to give me the kick up the ass that I need to get started. Do you remember when I told you I wanted to do a podcast about fannies? Do you remember that?
I do remember that. And it was...
Did you think I was crazy?
No, not at all. Why? People do podcasts about stuff that's important to them, right?
Yes.
And this is hugely important to you.
Yeah.
I still don't like the word fanny, but, you know.
What would you prefer?
I don't know.
Vulva.
I would actually prefer that.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll bear that. Noted. I'll bear that in mind.
Yeah. Why is it so important to you?
Because it is life-changing. Like, it just changes everything about who you are, how you live your life, how you parent, how you move every day. Every thought is about, is this going to make it worse? And I just think so many women are living with this stuff in complete isolation because nobody talks about it.
Okay, so we haven't even talked about what it is yet.
Okay.
Which is interesting though, isn't it?
Well, exactly, because it is really hard to find the words.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going a bit, I don't feel comfortable saying vagina, vulva, words like that out loud. I'm going to get over that. I can get past that.
We still haven't talked about what it is.
For me,
Yeah.
Okay, pelvic organ prolapse. It's such a horrible kind of phrase. But for me, that is basically where the muscles of, I'm not a doctor, where the muscles of your pelvic floor are knackered and they stop supporting the pelvic organs which kind of sit on top of them, the bladder, the bowel, your uterus. And so those things kind of fall into each other and come out of position. Because I remember the actual point at which it happened.
Yeah. So it didn't happen straight away.
No.
After birth.
No. So I had bad tear after Ollie had third degree tear.
Yeah.
So I had surgery for that. And then it was 17 days later, to be exact. And 2 things had happened. I'd lifted up Eva, my toddler, and then I had strained on the loo to do a poo, which is always fun after you've had a baby at the best of times.
Always happens after you've had a baby.
Yeah. And
before you have them, actually.
Yeah, all of that. And I was rushing to get back to screaming baby, and then within minutes it just felt like a lump in my vagina.
So you can
Like,
actually feel something.
you know, like when you lose, if a tampon's coming out.
Yeah.
And you just like,
It's like,
a bulge thing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, nothing felt right down there anyway, right? I couldn't sit down without a pillow because of the tear anyway. But then this was different. And I remember going upstairs, getting a mirror, having a look. Honestly, don't think I have ever in my life looked at my own vulva before then. Did not even know that's what it was called. So I could see that it did not look right, but I didn't really know why it didn't look right. I couldn't put my finger. So Google Images. Wow. Can you imagine? Because I didn't have the words. Because I never this like prolapse. What was that? And that was not on my radar at all. No one had ever. I never knew that was a thing.
No, I don't think actually I remember anybody mentioning it to me.
So kind of hit on that after a while.
Yeah.
And I get, oh, well, that was it really. I was still under the care of the midwife, so I texted her. And in that moment, you're like, I'm reading what this is. My insides are falling out. I'm this far off calling an ambulance because that's what, if that feels quite bad, right? So anyway, didn't call an ambulance. I guess that would have been really embarrassing. But
I'm sure people call ambulances for worse things.
That is true. But that was kind of like the start of it really. And then the more you Google or the more you read about it, the more you realise it can't really be undone, and it's that kind of permanency that just really hits home. And then just everything that you read about, well, not just everything that you read, like everything you're advised about, not running, not jumping, not lifting, not on top of any symptoms that you might have. My symptoms aren't that bad. A lot of people get really bad incontinence, really bad pain. It just is life-changing.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was just like, right, well, I'm never like going to be that mum that I imagined I was going to be. And I just kept thinking about, we would always go on holiday to Cornwall, and my mum and dad and me and my brothers would always be playing on the beach in the evening, just like rounders and piggybacks and throwing each other around and stuff. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
And I just thought, like, that will never be me. And I won't be me anymore, and I won't be the mum that I want to be. And it's just stuff like that. It's just really...
Do you still carry that now, that feeling?
Yeah. I have to say, in the last couple of years, I'm feeling much better about it because I've started talking about it.
Yeah.
And I started my Instagram page, and I've met other mums who have it.
Yeah.
And I'm coming to understand that all that kind of don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, it's not as simple as that. And actually there are ways to get back to doing that stuff, because it is that balance, isn't it, of like what you need to do in your life between like calculated risks kind of thing. And that's kind of a point that I'm at now.
But at that moment it was like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, just game over.
Yeah.
And I know that's how people feel about this.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's it then. That's how they're going to live their life, or just not live their life. And that's why I want to make this podcast, because there's no charity, there's no helpline, there's no support group.
Yeah.
And like I said, the thing that's really helped me is hearing stories of other women.
Yeah.
And it's not just prolapse. People have other unmentionable issues with hideous incontinence and debilitating pain, and it's just not talked about. And
what's behind that? Like, why do we not talk about that?
Because it's so embarrassing.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it's complicated. I think it's really embarrassing. I think you blame yourself. I certainly did. Why did I not do more pelvic floor exercises? Why did I strain on the loo? Why did I?
Because you needed a poo.
No, but I wouldn't have if I'd known that could happen. So part of my thing is, like, we should be telling people that this could happen. If you come out of major surgery having had a baby in a 3rd-degree tear, don't strain on the loo, Helen, because your insides might fall out. If someone had said that to me, I definitely would have remembered that. Nobody said that to me.
That actually sounds like you're quite angry as well.
I'm totally angry about it. I am, because who knows, right? It could have happened, whatever. But I kind of feel like it didn't need to happen. And I think for a lot of people, this stuff doesn't need to happen. And I think for a lot of people, they can improve their situations, but the help and support isn't available for them to know that.
Yeah.
And I think, if, at the very least, you can help people come to terms with it. I kind of accept it and live a life anyway. And I think that's not available. If you think about it, the reason there's no charity is definitely because it's embarrassing, right? How can you ask people for money? No one's going to run a marathon dressed as a big fanny, raising money to fix people's vaginas.
Do you know what? I would absolutely love it if you did that. If you do that, I might actually do that with you. In fact, I would. As long as we wouldn't call it fanny. And also I can't run a marathon, but I would do something else.
But you know what I mean? You can't fundraise for a problem that no one understands, that you can't talk about. And I think, historically, the medical world has been male-dominated. Why are you ever going to figure out how to fix a problem that you don't know about?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think of it as an old lady problem, which I think is...
I did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Which is another reason why people don't kind of report it.
Yeah. And how many people suffer from prolapse?
So I've been really trying to find out, and not just about prolapse, but about other pelvic floor dysfunction. And there is very little research. The best kind of figures I could find is that 1 in 3 women over the age of 25 has pelvic floor dysfunction of some sort. So I have to do this.
Do it then! Are you doing it? You've already
started. I'm doing it. So that's me, 1 in 3. And this is just the start. There's so much more we need to talk about, both physical and mental. We'll get through it together. In the next episode, I'll be meeting up with my women's health physio, Katie, who is lovely and funny and has helped me massively. We'll be going back to basics on a whole range of pelvic floor problems, and I promise not to cry this time. You've probably realised by now that I'm not a medical professional. I'm actually a journalist. So please don't take anything you hear as medical advice, but do get involved. Subscribe, tell me what you think, and spread the word. Tell a friend, spam a WhatsApp group, put an advert on a bus. Let's end the stigma together. You've been listening to Why Mums Don't Jump with me, Helen Ledwick. You can find me on Instagram at whymumsdon'tjump or online at whymumsdon'tjump.com, where I'll put more information about each episode. Bye for now.